Okay, then we're going to talk about the Magnepan LRS. It's another one of these incredible products, and in some respects, almost regardless of cost. But when you add the cost in, it takes it to another level of performance and value. So a bit of backstory, Magnepan has been making, well, the previous model was called the MMG, and I think they made it in 1995. And then about 2 years ago, 2017, they released the improved version called the MMGI. These are products that Magnepan makes for sort of a taste of what Magnepan speakers are all about. They're relatively small. In the States, they're $5.99 US, and they've sold tens of thousands of speakers, and so obviously very, very popular. The previous model, relatively easy to drive, certainly better electronics, worked better, but ultimately you did not need to use an extremely high-end amplifier or very, very high-quality amplifier. The new LRS, on the other hand, almost demands that you do. If you go on the manufacturer's website, they talk about this. Matter of fact, I'm just going to quote it. Factory says, will work nicely with the receiver, but it was intentionally designed to extract the most from high-end amplifiers and electronics. The LRS expects more from a properly designed high-current amplifier. That is a radical departure from most entry-level speakers. If you put your expensive high-end amplifier on the LRS, you will hear the difference. So, effectively, the panel is one film of quasi-ribbon, as the factory calls it. So there's no different panels or different films using different technologies, so extremely coherent. Very light, so it's easy to move, and with all Magnepans, the sound radiates from the front and the back. So if you want the optimal performance, you need to put the speakers approximately 4 to 5 feet from the wall behind the speakers. Now, because they're so light, a lot of our clients, for day-to-day usage, will put the speakers near the wall, so it's out of the way, and then when they want to sit down and listen, they'll pull the speakers out. So our first impressions, Philip, why don't you go ahead?
I didn't like it. Surprise, surprise. But at the time, we were using, less than ideal amplifiers. They were good, but I actually like the MMGI better.
Yeah, I think that all of us would agree. The MMGI sounded, quote unquote, better with the electronics that we were using.
The MMGI just seemed to be a little bit more natural, had a little bit more warmth, and but it didn't have the detail, obviously, like compared to the 0.7 and the 1.7. But it was just enjoyable. It was like a non-judgmental kind of experience. You could just play it in the background, or you could, it was just very fast. That's always a very pleasant experience. And but it just didn't have the detail. But it was pleasant. And the LRS was like this thing, and we hooked up to a number of fairly expensive setups, and it seemed to ask for more, and it wanted more, and so. We were saying to ourselves, what was, what is Wendell thinking? Like, what is this thing about? We couldn't figure it out exactly. It was okay. And at that price point, obviously, that's a great product because then you can, you buy the speaker first and then you match some electronics to it. And that's the easiest way of doing it. So we just knew that we had to find something that would work with it to really realize the potential. And we did put more expensive things on it, and it was better, and it got better and then better. But then you're talking about putting a Parasound JC5 on it. That's an $8,000 amp, so that works well. We know that, and even the Parasound the 21 Plus, which is $4,500, that worked well. But we knew that wasn't a good price point for it. So, but we liked it. Of course, but it's a very it's demanding in the way of as all audiophile stuff is. So whatever you put into it, you get back out of it. And so the better the front end, the better the speaker's going to sound.
Jay, what did you think?
Well, initially I didn't like it, just like Philip, but with proper amplification, aka Hegel, or other electronics that has, I liked it with Parasound quite a bit. The only thing is that I feel like it's a departure from the MMGI sound. It's more towards the 0.7 and the 1.7, in the sense that they have that. I wasn't a big fan of MMGs in the beginning because they don't really fit into my idea of a Magnepan because they're quite small. And they don't. I found that they don't have the sound characteristics that Magnepans usually possess. But the LRS is different in the sense that it does, and it's very competitive in the price point, which I think is a little bit of a trap.
Yes, it's definitely
because here's the thing, a lot of these budget speakers, right?
Yeah.
This audio is really good in the sense that, just like Philip said, whatever you feed into it, you're gonna get the result. And so if you're like, okay, I got this speaker for what, 880 Canadian. Okay, so I'm gonna get a $400 amplifier, which is what goes on in someone's mind, right? That's not gonna do it any justice.
Well, so the interesting thing is, I did sell a pair to an audiophile because I specifically asked him, so what amps are you using? He says, well, I have past labs.
Oh yeah.
So that's sufficient. But that's not an inexpensive amplifier, but he knew about it. Mm-hmm. So he knew fully going into it that essentially what he was getting was a true Magnepan with quasi-ribbon technology in a much less expensive package. And that would fit in any room, really. So, that's an interesting development, as it were, because usually people who buy MMGIs are not those people.
Right, and so that sort of leads us to the follow-up. When we received the Hegel, for those of you who are not watching or have not watched our video on Hegel, you might want to go and watch that after this video, and Jay will put the link for this video at the bottom of this particular production. So we had received some Hegels to try, and although we expected good things out of it, I don't think any of us expected how it was going to perform, and in particular how well the H90 integrated amplifier was going to perform with the LRS. So a bit of background, the Hegel H90, well, Hegel, first of all, is a Norwegian company. They've been around for over 20 years. Google it, you'll see the reviews all over the world, are quite stunning. The H90 is rated, I think, at 60 watts per channel.
It's 60 watts, but it's like NAME,
Yeah,
which
it
is also
sounds
60 watts,
a whole
but
lot
it's
more
not 60
powerful.
watts.
And with very high damping factor. So we connected the H90 to the LRS. So Philip, why don't you go ahead and...
The LRS was transformed. Before, it seemed a little bit uncontrolled, a little flat. It certainly did not go down to 50 hertz, which is its rating. And immediately, the thing you'll notice is that with the Hegel placed into the same system, the LRS seemed like a full-range speaker, which it is. It just needs the amplification to drive it properly, and the Hegel does that. Even the most basic one does that. So on the one hand, the LRS is a really good speaker, and when you match it with the right electronics, it really blossoms. And that's what I was getting in that small room. And so here's the amazing thing. At my insistence, I will have to take credit for. We did bring the LRS and the Hegel H90 to the Toronto Audio Fest.
2019.
And we had this gigantic room. This
30 by 60.
With 500-foot seats.
It's ridiculous.
Huge room. And we divided in half. One half was Macintosh Sonus faber system, where we debuted the Olympica Nova, and the other half was D'Agostino amplification and
these ones over here.
Yeah, the progressions, and then we had
500-watt beasts.
Yeah, 500-watt beasts, and we had Alexias.
The Wilson Alexia 2s, yeah.
Wilson Alexia 2s and an MSB DAC.
Yes.
And people were blown away by that. And then, of course, there was a third system in the corner at the front of the room. It was LRS with the Hegel H90. And then every now and then, I would just stop everything that was going on, and I would turn on that system. And invariably, that got bigger crowds than everything else we had in the room. People would actually turn around and listen to that, and they were blown away by that system in that room. It wasn't so much that it played really loud or anything like that, but these little small panels were actually filling up the room and had no right to do so. And it was well controlled and it was musical. And then, of course, when they understood that we were going to give away a pair, they got even more interested.
Yes. We'll get to that in a moment about the giveaway. Jay?
Normal speakers, LRS with the Hegel. The depth it's like, how would I explain it? Like when you're sitting in a venue, right? I wouldn't say much of a concert, but like a venue, and then you're actually listening to live music. That's what it feels like. The depth is just incredible with Magnepens in general, but with LRS and Hegel, that was fun. And 60 watts, was it?
Yeah, 60.
Like I said, like we weren't expecting anything.
Yeah, and especially given that we'd already tried a whole bunch of very highly acclaimed, reasonably priced electronics with the LRS, and our experience had so far been, all right, yeah, it's pretty good, but I don't think any of us were all that jazzed about it until the H90 came on, and we were just blown away. And especially given that, again, for $2,200, we were just shocked at how well it made it with the LRS. Yeah.
But the LRS were selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
And we sold, we were now onto our third shipment, so.
Yeah, dozens and dozens already, and that's just us. In fact, we'd probably be able to sell more. We just can't get any shipments, and I know Magnepan is trying desperately to ship them. So anyway, that's our recommendation. If you are looking at something like the Magnepan LRS, seriously consider listening to them with the Hegel H90, see what you think. Certainly the models above it would, I think, sound even better, but if you're considering a budget, I mean, I think this at the show, the system we had was the H90, Hegel, the LRS, and a pair of Sonus speaker wires. They're what, $3,300 for the entire package, something like that?
Well, a little bit more with the cabling. And then we had a streamer, which actually the Hegel doesn't need because it has a built-in streamer.
Right.
But we did use an external streamer, but that was only a $300 device.
Right.
And
I mean, that's very impressive. I mean, I remember reading a magazine that said under $5,000, true audiophile system doesn't exist. And it was going on about, how expensive things were, and it's impossible to get really great sound under $5,000 as an audiophile. This, we've all listened to it. It's damn good.
Yeah.
well, it's one of those
Under 5,000.
synergistic combinations.
Yes, synergistic. Yeah, I think that's the right word for it.
It's greater than the sum, like the whole of it is greater than the parts.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, well, that's our recommendation. If you're looking for an affordable audio system, check that out and see what you think. And then, by all means, send us emails, comments on the video. Let us know what you think.